Hi everyone, my name is Pastor Carol Wanjao. I'm an executive pastor at Mavuno Church. I'm also a marriage and family therapist. And with me is Wangeshi Kanyeki. She's a journalist and a mother of three.
A mother of three, 2 teenage daughters and a preteen.
Yeah, yes. And we were having a conversation about our homes. And we were talking about, we're in this season when we are talking about the coronavirus, the fact that we are all now at home, and we're talking about how do we keep our homes safe. But then we have the situation of our domestic workers who come and go. It may be on a daily basis, or it might be at the end of the week. And we were wondering, what should we do about that? What should we think about that? So let me just hear your thoughts about that.
I think it's very important to note that the people who are coming in a lot of your home could be carriers of the virus, and they could catch it unknowingly, unintentionally. And you need to educate your domestic workers or whoever is coming in and out about the facts about coronavirus.
Yeah. And again, coronavirus is actually it's a contact. You get it by being very close, to somebody. When somebody sneezes, and they sneeze and, they haven't covered their nose and, it comes on you, the droplets come on you, or when they cough and, they shake your hand. So, just given that little information, how then should we just even have that conversation with our domestic workers?
I think the trick is to do it as a family. Not just the domestic worker, because she might feel like she's been isolated or stigmatized or segregated. So do it as a household, and then you demonstrate like hand washing. Once you've given the facts, you demonstrate how to correctly wash hands, including your thumbs and washing above the palms, and demonstrate even proper hand drying techniques, including not using your cloth towel. It might be a good opportunity to invest in paper towels, single-use paper towels, so that they just put in a bin, a bin with a lid, and so as to prevent the bacteria from spreading around. In fact, research has shown that hand dryers are not the most recommended at this point because they spread bacteria, but we don't have a lot of those in the home. So it's hand washing techniques, hand drying techniques, and then how to manage even your sneezes and your coughs. Make sure you're either sneezing into an elbow or coughing into the elbow so that you don't spread the droplets.
Yeah.
That's the first point.
I think that. I just got this, it was a forward, just the usual forwards that are going around. And this one was from the Directorate of Occupational Safety and Health Services. And there they were talking about the workplace and, just how to keep that safe. But I think that there's some, and it would be good to just say, okay, how does this also apply to the home space? And they were talking about, of course, they talked about cleaning hands, providing soap. Here the good thing here is that they talk about not just the sanitizers, but that you can also use soap. And it's important because, if our domestic workers are just hearing about, hand sanitizers all the time, not understanding that we can actually use soap. And actually, really, as you're saying, for the family, that we can use soap, that it actually is available for us. It works, yeah.
What about the commute? How does she handle or he handle, because you could have a gardener or a security guard, how do they handle the commute from their place of residence to your house?
Yeah.
What are some of the precautions
that we can think of?
Yeah, what are some of them?
You know what? I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, actually just last night, and she considered asking her nanny, because she has a small child, and the truth of the matter is that the people who are the population, the demographic that is mostly affected are young kids and older people. And so for her situation, she considered getting her nanny to come in
and stay,
for the duration of time, for these 30 days or so that, so she's considering, asking her to just come in so that there isn't, that back and forth, coming in back and forth. And so to me, I see that as a viable, as far as it is possible, as a viable option that someone can explore with their domestic workers.
if that's not possible, because sometimes your nanny may have children, so they're not able to move in with you permanently, or at least for the next 2 or so weeks, you could also consider reducing the number of times that they commute. Remember, they are also anxious about going back, traveling back and forth.
Yeah.
And you could reduce that to maybe twice a week, especially like for us who have teens, and let the children pick up some of those chores.
I think so.
Especially in the Kenyan setting.
Yeah, I think so. In the Kenyan setting. Yeah, because honestly, if you have a domestic worker and you have your kids, then one of them becomes redundant. And so at this time when they're home, actually having a domestic worker, reducing their time, as you're saying, is, can come in very, very handy. But remember, we also need to think about their health. And so even for them, reducing the number of hours that they are in a public setting, like in a public transport, where they are exposed, we also need to explain to them that actually it is for their good that we are reducing, either they're either coming on or that we are reducing their just that exposure time.
And some of the ways to manage that is not to reduce their pay. Because it's really not her initiative to reduce her working days, because they're paid per day. And just you could reduce the number of days she actually comes to work, but not reduce the pay.
And I think that's so important.
From a humanitarian.
But I think that is important. You see, if your domestic worker is not assured of their pay, they will not be honest with you when they fall sick or when someone in their environment falls sick. One of the recommendations from this document was, it was saying that if you have a member of your family who is sick at home, then you as a worker should be allowed to stay home and take care of the person who is unwell. And so, but when they are assured that you're not cutting their pay, then they will be honest. Should they fall sick, even if it's a cold or someone around them falls sick, they will be honest enough with you to tell you what is going on, so that then that does not come back to your home.
The other thing I'm thinking is we could also have visual aids in the bathrooms of just how to wash your hands. That constantly reminds both the nanny and the children and the family members on the best way to wash your hands, how to use soap correctly, how to use sanitizer if that's what you have, but how to wash hands correctly.
And I think I love the fact that you keep emphasizing hygiene. And I don't think we can overemphasize it for our domestic workers, for our children. We cannot overemphasize the place or the role that hygiene plays in just keeping our homes safe.
And remember, if you train your domestic worker well, they're able to take that information to their home setting in the neighborhood.
Okay, so I think that is all that we have as far as domestic workers go. Please understand that this is not an individual home solution. You need to be having these conversations as a neighborhood, because you might be thinking that I'm talking to my domestic worker and working with them to ensure that they are safe. But if you're not having this conversation as a neighborhood and saying how do we do this as a community, then you may find yourselves compromised just because you have not had this conversation at a community level. So what I see in this is that, again, it gets us to work together. It gets us to work together as families. It gets us to work together as communities.
It takes a village.
It truly takes a village. So that is all for now. We shall continue having conversations on the home front. What do we do with our children now that they're at home? How do we continue having these conversations? I think we shall be tackling, so what happens if someone falls ill, God forbid it, or any other such situations that may come up. If you have any questions, please go ahead and ask those questions. You can do that on any of our social media spaces, on Mavuno Facebook, and we would be happy to have those conversations going forward. So until then, have a good time.